just make sure it looks the exact fucking same before and after validation.
He's like unofficially been voted the nicest startup facilitator in New Zealand. Please give it up for Angus Pauley from Startup Dunedin.
Awesome, cool. As Pete introduced, I haven't done comedy before. And he said, look, it's a bit of a variety show. Come in, do whatever you like. And I thought, you know what? Pete's actually been helping us out at Startup Dunedin, doing a lot of pitch coaching workshops. And I thought I would give a Kiwi take on pitch coaching and how we think startup pitches should go. So there might be some differences tonight between, I guess, what startup pitches look like in Australia versus New Zealand. So if that's the case, if they pop up, take a few notes. I'd love to hear what those differences are. But nonetheless, I'm going to go into startup pitching in I guess, from a New Zealander's perspective, from a New Zealand context. So first things first, NDAs. Don't even fucking think of an idea until you've signed an NDA. You of all people know you're a shifty fucking bugger and you're probably going to steal your own idea. Number two, it's very, very hard to pitch a startup if you don't first name that startup. And there's really one essential rule with that. And that rule is to do with vowels. Now, vowels, whack them off. Get rid of them. Are the most special little troopers in the world, and they don't have time for vowels. Look at Uber. Imagine how much better Uber would be if it was just BR. R's in there. And that's exactly how you fucking feel when you're left waiting in the rain for 40 minutes. I'm still fucking waiting, Simon. I shouldn't be too mean to Simon. Simon's actually one of 3 Uber drivers here in Dunedin. He's got a 4.92 out of 5 stars. Sorry about that 0.8, mate. It was a very cold night and I was very upset. All right, next up, market size. Market size is important. It kind of sets your ambition level for your startup and consequently how much money you might be able to raise. And the rule with this is just make sure the number is fucking huge. If it's not big enough, add a couple of extra markets in there and then call them future verticals. And remember, your startup sector is the fastest growing sector in the world. No debates. The other thing with market size, there's also this thing, and again, you'll come across this in a few different pitch workshops. There's a thing called the TAM, SAM, SOM model. Now, TAM is the total available market. It's the total number of potential people that could use your product. SAM is the proportion that you might be able to service. And then the SOM is the total number of people within that you think that you're actually going to be able to get out to and get your product to. Now, with this, there's a couple of important things to remember. One, everybody is your potential customer. So those small numbers are no good. And two, investors love confidence. That first number, 7.8 billion. That second number, 7.8 billion. That third number, 7.8 billion. That's the number of humans that are on this planet. That's the number that you can get your product in the hands of. Cool. Competition? None. Obviously, no competition. But if there was some, you do a section like this. Make sure you're nice and big in that top right-hand corner. Remember, get rid of the vowels. Make sure they're struck out. And make sure that this represents your competition for what they are, which is an obsolete. After all, you know, who can compete with a 22-year-old living off of daddy's money? All right, team slide. So it's very important with your team slide. It's very, very important that on this slide, it's just you. Industry experts, fuck that. It's your idea. You know best. Will this cap raise be used to onboard talent? No. You're buying a 40-foot fucking gong to install in your co-working space so you have something to bash every time you remember your dad doesn't love you. That's what you're using the money for. Problem's another one of those ones. It's all about ambition level, right? Big, hairy, audacious goal, big, hairy, audacious problem. The mental health crisis, climate change, ecological collapse. They all pale in comparison to the last mile delivery of your post-market of KFC. But don't worry, you do your bit, because for every delivery, 0.3% of profits go to charity. Now, solution? It's an app. Validation. It's absolutely essential that you conduct robust and detailed customer interviews with your 5 best mates at the pub. A great starting question for this is, you'd buy this, right? Of course, you could always interview your mum too, but just remember to get her to sign that NDA, because after all, you are cut from the same cloth. Solution part 2. If you have come up with an idea and then you go do customer interviewing, just make sure it looks the exact fucking same before and after validation. You don't want your investors to think you were stupid, do you? Now, roadmap to the fucking moon, baby. Literally to the fucking moon. 2 years, $2 billion exit, then go join the other lizard kings. And just remember to pack the 57 startup awards you got to legitimize your business. Now, as I'm sure Pete will have told some of you when he's doing pitch coaching, and you've all probably heard, every good pitch ends on an ask. In the current climate, if you're going to ask for money, the typical sort of pre-seed, pre-money valuation for a tech company is probably between 60 to 80 million. Now, of course, if you use AI or machine learning, you're probably safe to double that. But if you're pitching to a room and there's not necessarily investors there, not necessarily people with money, then of course you can ask for connections to investors out in the community. That's always a good way to go. And another really solid technique I've seen is actually asking for a combination of investment and connections. And I'm just going to pop up a really good example that I've seen of that on the screen now. I've heard that this one works particularly well if you're pitching into churches or other community groups. Now, in these pitch workshops, we often get that question, you know, Angus, what if I don't raise the money? What if I fail? And to that I say, if it all fails, just remember, you can always sell an entrepreneurship course or move into life coaching. First result, come work for Startup Dunedin. That's me, Zoom. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Angus Pauley. Give it up for Angus, everybody.